Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital spoilers for Thursday, November 13th, reveal that there'll be a Rocco Falconeri arrest mess while Jason Morgan grills Danny Morgan. Rick Lansing will also have an offer for Sonny Corinthos, so let's bandy what's coming up in Port Charles. Since Rocco offered himself so that Danny and Charlotte Cassadine wouldn't get caught, he's the one Professor Henry Hank Dalton just angrily dragged out of the exploration lab. Although Dalton wants to see Rocco in bind, Laura Collins will declare that nothing is going to arrest her grandson. There'll be plenitude of bickering on Thursday's GH occasion, but Laura's on the verge of an immolation that could maybe save Rocco from charges. Will this lead to Laura jilting the mayoral debate and maybe dropping out of the race altogether? Anyhow, Laura will do whatever she can to help Rocco, but it may come at a great cost. As for Charlotte, she'll give Dante Falconeri and Lulu Spencer updates on Rocco's situation. Dante will tell Charlotte to start at the morning and advise her not to leave anything out, so we'll see if Charlotte admits the whole story. After Giovanni Gio Palmieri hears about Rocco too, he'll tell Emma Scorpio Drake that it's going to be okay. Gio will declare that he knows what to do, so he'll try his stylish to fix all this for Rocco. Meanwhile, Jason will put Danny through an interrogation and demand to know whose idea it was to break in the lab. Danny might confess that Emma and Gio first approached the teens about the idea, but they decided to move ahead with it after Emma called off the plan. Next, Britt Westbourne will get on the phone and contend she really needs to see someone. That could be Jen Sidwell, since Britt's about to have a heated battle with him and gossip out some pitfalls to cover Rocco. While Harrison Chase and Nathan West get to know each other as new workmates, Molly Lansing Davis will come to Alexis Davis's bearing great news. We'll see Molly voice some relief in Thursday's show, so this may be about Rick's clean bill of health and fresh launch following his fire. Rick will continue to pretend he escaped a cult rather of Alexis' basement, so Alexis should be happy to let Molly keep on believing that. Eventually, General Hospital spoilers say Rick will pay Sonny a visit and try to strike a deal with him. It turns out Rick will want to prove how precious he can be, so it sounds like he'll be looking for a job. Rick may suppose he can be part of Sonny's legal platoon or find some other way to make himself useful for the right price, so stay tuned to see Sonny's response. General Hospital spoilers for the week of November 17th. 21 reveal that chaos will erupt for Carly Spencer while Jocelyn Jacks has a disturbing hassle. Dante Falconeri will also struggle with a dilemma, so let's bandy what's coming up in Port Charles. Following Carly's trip to Steinmauer, she'll have plenitude of mayhem to deal with back home. Carly will face the news of Lucas Jones moving in with Marco Rios at Windmere, so she'll no doubt sound the alarm. Since Lucas has agreed to live under dangerous Jen Sidwell's roof, that'll surely be a concern for Carly. The fact that Jocelyn is smelling around Lucas may come apparent to Carly as well and leave her upset about her son's rearmost WBS disquisition. Plus, Willow Tate is now free on bail, so Carly may get stuck in the middle of the conflict between Michael Corinthos and her former son-in-law. Throw in the act Carly's having to put on with Jack Brennan and she'll have way too much on her plate. Jocelyn will be under some stress of her own as she tries to juggle her need to cover Lucas with her obligation to complete her assignment. Brennan will be watching Jocelyn nearly to make sure she stays pious to the WSB, but there could be some snags along the way. Once Jocelyn realizes Pascal has moved to Port Charles and is now serving as Sidwell's cellarage, that'll throw her for a circle. Jocelyn will inescapably have a disturbing hassle with Pascal, who held her hostage with Vaughn back at the Five Poppies Resort. As for Portia Robinson, she'll have a hard time keeping Isaiah Gannon in the dark on her gestation. Will Isaiah get suspicious and start putting the mystification together? Portia will also work to keep Curtis Ashford out of the circle on Isaiah being a biopater option, but that'll bring further challenges. GH spoilers say Portia's secret is bound to explode sooner or laterly, but let's bandy ADA Justine Turner until also. After Justine loses control of her Sonny Corinthos manipulation plot, she may feel torn once she's crossed some sizzling lines. Next, Ava Jerome will have another kittenish commerce with Sidwell and let herself get swept up in his charm. The magnet between Sidwell and Ava will grow, so this could be the morning of a parlous love story or maybe one of preoccupation. Over with Dante, he'll have a dilemma on his hands when it comes to Gio Palmieri. Part of Dante may condemn Gio after Rocco Falconeri gets tangled up in all the lab break-in drama. Another part of Dante may realize he has to start holding Rocco responsible for his own choices. Plus, Gio helped save Ned Quartermain's life and easily has a good heart, so he deserves some credit for all that. There's also the matter of Britt Westbourne's life-saving sweats, so Dante and Lulu Spencer may have to rethink where they stand regarding her. General Hospital spoilers say the week of November 17th, 21 will bring some stunning developments, so stay tuned for updates on all the curveballs to come. In the treacherous landscape of Port Charles, where family legacies are both a shield and a shackle, the lines between protector and perpetrator are perpetually blurred. The events of Thursday, November 13th, and the ensuing week promise a seismic shift in the city's power structure, forcing characters to confront their deepest fears and make impossible choices. This is a period of baptism, a trial by fire for the young, a test of resolve for the established, and a dangerous dance for those who court chaos. Amidst the chaos, encouraging words are whispered in desperate attempts to hold on to hope, but they are often drowned out by the cacophony of angry threats that echo through the halls of power, justice, and family. The spoilers paint a picture of a community on the brink, where a single act of teenage rebellion threatens to topple empires and expose the fragile foundations upon which they are built. Thursday, November 13th, the reckoning after the break-in. The dust has settled from the ill-fated lab break-in, but the consequences are only beginning to unfurl, creating a ripple effect that will touch every corner of Port Charles. A grandson's sacrifice and a grandmother's ultimatum. The most immediate and emotionally charged fallout centers on Rocco Falconeri. In a move that speaks to his inherent nobility and the weight of his family name, Rocco made the conscious decision to sacrifice himself. He allowed Professor Henry Hank Dalton to apprehend him, creating a diversion so that Danny Morgan and Charlotte Cassadine could escape unscathed. Now, Rocco finds himself at the epicenter of a storm, with an enraged Dalton dragging him from the lab and demanding he be placed in handcuffs. This is not just a matter of teenage mischief. It's a high-stakes crime involving a protected, sensitive research facility, and Dalton is in no mood for leniency. Enter Laura Collins, the mayor of Port Charles but, in this moment, purely a fiercely protective grandmother. The political implications of her grandson being arrested for breaking and entering are catastrophic, but Laura's personal instincts override her political calculus. She delivers an unequivocal declaration: nobody is arresting her grandson. This sets the stage for a tense standoff, filled with bickering and raised voices. Laura's love for Rocco is absolute, and it places her on the precipice of a monumental sacrifice. The spoilers suggest she may be forced to ditch a critical mayoral debate or even drop out of the race entirely to shield Rocco from legal repercussions. This is the ultimate cost of family loyalty. Will she trade the career she has worked so hard to build for the freedom of her grandson? Laura's dilemma encapsulates the core theme of these spoilers: what are we willing to sacrifice for those we love, and at what point does protection become corruption? The unraveling web of deceit. As the adults grapple with the fallout, the other young accomplices are forced to confront their roles in the disaster. Charlotte Cassadine, likely terrified and feeling guilty for her escaped freedom, is tasked with delivering the bad news to Dante Falconeri and Lulu Spencer. Dante, a detective and a father, operates on two levels. His paternal heart is undoubtedly racing with fear for his son, but his professional mind kicks into gear. He instructs Charlotte to start from the very beginning and warns her not to omit a single detail. The critical question is whether a frightened Charlotte will admit the whole, unvarnished truth. Will she reveal the initial involvement of Gio and Emma? Will she disclose their true motive, which is likely tied to uncovering the secrets about Faison, the lab, and Britt's key fob? Her testimony could either contain the damage or widen the scandal to implicate nearly every significant teen in Port Charles. Meanwhile, the news reaches Gio Palmieri, who reacts with a characteristic blend of loyalty and impulsivity. Upon hearing of Rocco's arrest from Emma Scorpio Drake, he immediately offers reassuring words, insisting that everything will be okay. More importantly, he confidently states, "I know what to do." Gio, feeling responsible for initially involving the younger teens in this scheme before he and Emma aborted the plan, is poised to take drastic action to fix the situation. His definition of fixing could range from confessing his own role to the authorities to taking even more reckless measures to prove Rocco's innocence, potentially putting himself in the crosshairs of both the law and the dangerous forces connected to the lab. A father's interrogation and a doctor's desperation. Across town, Jason Morgan embodies a different kind of familial concern, one forged in the harsh realities of the Port Charles underworld. He subjects his nephew, Danny Morgan, to a rigorous interrogation, demanding to know whose idea the lab break-in truly was. Jason's approach is not one of gentle parenting, it is a tactical debriefing designed to assess the threat level and identify all responsible parties. Under this intense pressure, Danny might crack, revealing that the initial plan was conceived by Gio and Emma. He would likely add the crucial context that he, Rocco, and Charlotte decided to proceed independently after the older couple called it off. This information is a ticking time bomb. It not only implicates the beloved son of Robin Scorpio and Patrick Drake but also directly connects the crime to the ongoing mystery surrounding Britt Westbourne and the stolen key fob. Speaking of Britt, her world is simultaneously collapsing. The theft of her key fob, which she may not even have realized was missing, has now resulted in a major security breach. She makes a frantic phone call, insisting she urgently needs to see someone. All signs point to this person being Jen Sidwell. Knowing Britt's fierce, almost maternal protectiveness over Rocco, she is likely preparing for a heated confrontation with the powerful and sinister Sidwell. Her goal will be to dish out threats of her own, attempting to use her knowledge, her position, or perhaps information about him to shield Rocco from the full force of the consequences. She is playing a dangerous game, moving from a pawn in a larger conspiracy to an active, defiant player. New alliances and old ghosts. Amidst the high drama, other relationships are being forged and tested. At the PCPD, Harrison Chase and Nathan West are formally getting acquainted as new work partners. The atmosphere is undoubtedly charged. Dante has already likely briefed Nathan on Chase's controversial and independent stance on the Drew Kane shooting investigation. This partnership is less about camaraderie and more about a forced alliance, with Nathan potentially acting as Dante's inside man to keep an eye on the maverick detective Chase. In a rare moment of relief, Molly Lansing Davis arrives at Alexis Davis's home bearing what she believes is wonderful news. Her sigh of relief suggests that Rick Lansing has received a clean bill of health and is poised for a fresh start following his ordeal. The grand fiction that Rick was rescued from a cult, rather than from being unlawfully imprisoned in Alexis's basement, continues to hold. Alexis, burdened by guilt and the need to protect her daughter from the horrific truth, must maintain this charade. She will likely nod along, her relief for Molly's happiness mingling with the acidic taste of her own deception. This subplot is a masterclass in dramatic irony, as the audience knows this fresh start is built on a foundation of lies that is destined to crumble. Finally, the man at the center of that lie, Rick Lansing, makes his move. He pays a visit to sunny Corinthos with a singular goal: to strike a deal. Having lost his law career and his standing, Rick is a man with nothing to lose and everything to prove. He aims to demonstrate his value to the most powerful man in Port Charles. This could take many forms. He may offer his legal expertise, albeit with a suspended license, to Sonny's organization. He might propose himself as a political fixer, given his understanding of the city's power players. Or, more ominously, he could offer insider information on the unholy trinity of Alexis, Christina, and Ava, positioning himself as a weapon for Sonny to wield against them. Sonny's reaction will be critical. He is a shrewd judge of character, and while he may see the uses for a desperate, intelligent man like Rick, he will also recognize the inherent volatility and treachery he brings. The week of November 17th to 21st, the chaos multiplies. If the previous week was about the initial explosion, the week of November 17th is about the ensuing firestorm, as multiple storylines ignite simultaneously. Carly's converging crises. Carly Spencer returns from her trip to Steinmauer, expecting to deal with one set of problems, only to find her home life in a state of advanced mayhem. She is hit with the staggering news that Lucas Jones has moved in with Marco Rios at Windmere, the literal lion's den, now occupied by the dangerous Jen Sidwell. For Carly, this is a 5-alarm fire. Lucas is not just an acquaintance, he is family, and his proximity to Sidwell is an unacceptable risk. Her maternal anxiety will skyrocket when she inevitably realizes that her daughter, Jocelyn, is already sniffing around Lucas as part of her WSB assignment. The thought of Jocelyn operating in such a perilous environment, under the same roof as a man like Sidwell, will paralyze Carly with fear. Furthermore, she is now thrust back into the bitter war between Michael and a free-on-bail Willow Tate. As Michael's mother and Willow's former mother-in-law, she is stuck in an impossible position, her loyalties divided and her heart torn. To top it all off, she must maintain a convincing act with the treacherous Jack Brennan, pretending to be a loyal asset while secretly plotting his downfall with Valentine Cassadine. Carly's plate is not just full, it is overflowing with toxic, potentially explosive ingredients. Jocelyn perilous tightrope walk. Jocelyn Jacks finds herself on a similarly dangerous tightrope, her personal convictions clashing with her professional obligations. Her genuine desire to protect Lucas wars with her duty to complete her WSB assignment for Brennan. The stakes are raised exponentially when she discovers that Pascal, the man who, alongside Vaughn, held her hostage at the Five Poppies Resort, has moved to Port Charles and is now serving as Sidwell's head of security, or bunker. This is a deeply disturbing development. Pascal is not a vague threat, he is a living, breathing manifestation of her past trauma. A confrontation with him is inevitable, and it promises to be chilling. It will force Jocelyn to relive her captivity and test her nerve in a way she never anticipated. Brennan will be watching her every move, and any sign of hesitation or personal involvement could blow her cover and put her life in grave danger. Portia's precarious house of cards. Across the city, Portia Robinson's carefully constructed world is groaning under the weight of her secrets. Keeping her pregnancy a secret from the father, Dr. Isaiah Gannon, is becoming an untenable struggle. Every glance, every avoided question, every wave of nausea risks sparking his medical suspicion. It is only a matter of time before Isaiah, a trained doctor, begins to put the puzzle pieces together. Simultaneously, Portia is working overtime to keep her husband, Curtis Ashford, in the dark about even considering Isaiah as a potential biodad. This double life is a recipe for disaster. The pressure is mounting, and the spoilers suggest that this secret is a bubble ready to burst, promising to devastate her marriage and professional life when it does. Flotation, obsession, and a detective's dilemma. In the world of high-stakes manipulation, ADA Justine Turner finds her carefully laid plot to ensnare Sonny Corinthos spiraling out of control. The spoilers hint that she has crossed some sizzling lines, likely referring to developing genuine, unexpected feelings for her target. Sonny's charm and dimples are a potent weapon, and Justine may be discovering that playing with fire often results in getting burned. She is now torn between her mission for the WSB and a burgeoning, forbidden attraction, a conflict that makes her dangerously unpredictable. Ava Jerome, ever the connoisseur of danger, continues her flirty dance with Jen Sidwell. She allows herself to be swept up in his charm, the expensive gifts, and the intoxicating allure of a powerful, mysterious man. What begins as a tactical maneuver to gather information is showing signs of evolving into a genuine, and profoundly risky, attraction. This could be the beginning of a dark love story or a mutually destructive obsession, with Ava once again failing to see the inferno until she is already engulfed in the flames. For Dante Falconeri, the lab break-in forces a painful internal dilemma regarding Gio Palmieri. The paternal part of him wants to place the blame squarely on Gio, the older teen who initially planted the seed of the dangerous idea in his son's mind. Yet, the fair and rational part of Dante knows he must begin holding Rocco accountable for his own choices. Rocco made the conscious decision to proceed and to sacrifice himself. Complicating this further is the undeniable fact that Gio helped save Ned Quartermain's life. Dante and Lulu are forced into a position of moral reevaluation. Their hatred for Britt Westbourne over the embryo theft is now juxtaposed with the reality that both Britt and Gio have recently acted heroically to save the lives of their family members. They must confront a difficult question: Can they continue to demonize these individuals while simultaneously owing them an immense debt of gratitude? In conclusion, the weeks spanning November 13th to the 21st represent a pivotal turning point for Port Charles. It is a baptism of fire for its younger generation, a trial of loyalty for its matriarchs and patriarchs, and a playground for its most cunning manipulators. Encouraging words are spoken in hushed tones between Gio and Emma, and perhaps from a relieved Molly to Alexis, but they are fragile defenses against the angry threats levied by Dalton, Jason, Britt, and the ever-present shadow of powerful men like Sidwell and Brennan. In a town where the past is never dead, the present is a battlefield, and every choice carries the weight of legacy. The residents of Port Charles are about to learn that some baptisms leave permanent scars.